Welcome to AMP, the platform for multi-sport age group athletes to showcase their journeys. Welcome back to AMP. We're on episode 12. My name's Richard Conway, and I'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody who's been listening and leaving feedback and messages. We've now reached 1,500 downloads since we started, so a big thank you for your support. Much appreciated, and we'll keep putting out the content as long as we can get people to interview and you keep listening, so thanks a lot. Since the last episode 11, which featured Jo Parker and her llamas, we have seen the conclusion of the Tour de France. And what a 3-week race it was. Really enjoyed watching it. And just an incredible finish. Went right down to the wire, to the last stage, where Tadej Pogačar took yellow from Primož Roglič, both Slovenians, and there was 55 seconds between them at the beginning of the stage, and today just went up the mountain, 33k time trial, and he beat everybody, won the stage. So on the final ride into the Champs-Élysées, he had the yellow jersey, he had the Young Riders white jersey, and he also had the King of the Mountain polka dot jersey. Unbelievable. And this kid's only 21. Lots more to come from him, but what a start in his professional career. And to top it all, George Bennett, the Irish sprinter, made it to Paris, and not only did he win the green sprinter's jersey, he actually won the final stage, and it was just fantastic to see. Really enjoyed that. So, shame that's finished now, but we have got the World Championship cycling to come. We've got the Vuelta and the Giro, and you would think this was a cycling podcast instead of a multi-sport podcast, but cycling is part of multi-sport, and really enjoy watching it. So back to triathlon. A couple of the age group multi-sport guests we've had on recently have been racing in the last couple of weeks, and I picked up the results from Instagram, where I follow them both. Yiannis Christodoulou took part in the channel Sprint Triathlon, and he took the course record. For more details, you can catch up on Yanni's YouTube channel. So well done there, Yanni. And Lee Ross, who was with us on episode 7, he was racing the Cotswolds Middle Distance Triathlon, 70.8. Didn't quite go to plan for him. He finished the race after having stomach issues from the beginning, and then on the run he tripped over and really smashed up his knee, but he still finished, and in a fantastic time of 4 hours and 42 minutes. So well done, Lee. I think it's quite nice hearing how the age groupers that have been on the show are doing, so I think we might make this into a little bit of a introduction feature, so I can let everybody know how the guys and girls that have been on AMP are doing in their races. So yeah, let's see how it goes anyway. So on to episode 12's guest, Christina Dove. I first come across Christina on Instagram, and she started following AMP, and I noticed that she rode mainly Bianchi bikes, which is a bit of a soft spot of mine. I love Italian bikes as long as they've got Campag on. And so she got in touch and asked would I be interested in interviewing her for the show, and so here we are. Christina's been riding a bike since 2012 and is an avid cyclist. And through work she was to take part in the London Marathon. And since she'd done the London Marathon, she wanted to carry on that running fitness as well as the cycling fitness that she got. And she decided to get in touch with Yiannis Christodoulou, who she followed on Instagram also, and asked Yiannis what he thought of doing multisport. Yanni pointed Christina in the direction of duathlons, and Christina didn't really know anything about duathlons, so she did a bit of investigation, and the rest's history. Hope you enjoy this one. Here's Christina. Thank you for doing this, Christina, and welcome along to AMP.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
How have you found lockdown in general?
Oh gosh, I get asked this question a lot actually. We got asked it at work recently, and to start with, a definite roller coaster. Yeah. It's calming down, I have to say. It's been quite nice. We've had my daughter move back in with us, her boyfriend moved in, had my son here. So all that was really nice. From a training point of view, great. You've got more time, haven't you? So,
yeah, true.
No, apart from at the beginning when there was more restrictions, but then I was sort of cycling outside for an hour and doing an hour inside. Yeah. But I think just generally from a work point of view, it's been hard. So I've been working I don't work full time, I work now I work 3.5 days over 4. But all at home, and that's been a real struggle actually. So and just not seeing family and stuff to start with was hard, you know. So it's been strange for everybody, hasn't it? I think
it has, yeah. We've all dealt with it in our own ways, haven't we? So yeah. So what is it that you do for a living?
Well, I work at Mercer, who are a massive multinational global company. In the UK, we have about 5,000 people, and I've got a dual role at the moment. So I'm the culture leader, making sure we've got the right culture at work, and I'm also the regional market leader for the South. So quite a lot of business development, getting Mercer's name out there, helping prospects and clients with anything to do with employee benefits, really, talent management, well-being, that sort of thing. So quite a varied role, really. Yeah. Great, I love it. But it has been fully at home. Which has been
and where is home?
So home is Emsworth on the south coast.
Okay.
So small town between Chichester and Portsmouth. Right. Which is a lovely part of the country. Yeah. If anybody that follows me on Instagram will see all my photographs.
I do, obviously, as you know, and it does look stunning, to be fair.
Yeah, so can run to the water. It's sort of an inlet. We're on like an estuary, and then very close to the South Downs for cycling, which is lots of hills and really quiet roads. So it's lovely. But you'll probably tell from the accent, I don't hail from the South Coast.
That was going to be my next question, to be fair. Where are you originally?
Yeah, I'm from York. And I think the accent's got a bit stronger during lockdown because I haven't been mixing with as many Southerners.
Right. Yeah, you've not lost it like me. I mean, I live in Lincolnshire, and I've got a more north-eastern accent than, I've not been in the northeast since. I don't know. It must be 30 years. So, but
yeah, I spent a bit of time. So I went for 18, went up to Newcastle University.
Right.
So spent 3 years in Newcastle, and then moved down to Brentwood in Essex at 21. That's where I got the job with Mercer. I applied for Manchester. I said, we haven't got Manchester, we got Brentwood. I'm like, where's that? So moved to Essex, and then moved down to the south coast in '94. So I've been down there ever since. Yeah. But all the family is still up in Yorkshire, so I'm up there regularly.
Yeah. Again, another nice part of the world, isn't it, Yorkshire?
It is. Yeah.
Really nice. Yeah. They've all got the merits. So tell me a little bit about growing up and what sport you used to practice when you were a kid.
I've always been, no particular sport. I've always been very, very active. Parents always used to say you've got ants in your pants. I used to cartwheel everywhere, apparently. At school I was in netball teams, hockey teams, things like that. Yeah. We didn't really, we had a thing, I'm sure, I was thinking the other day, I think it's at junior school, we had this thing called the Catholic Sports. And I remember I absolutely loved it. And I don't even know how long the races were. They were probably I doubt if they were even 100 metres, but I used to love that. I used to love running fast, but was never into cross country. We cycled everywhere as kids because that's what you did in them days, So we did that. So I was in teams. My senior school wasn't particularly sporty. There was one teacher decided to sort of run an athletics club after school one night, and again, I remember running and stuff, and he put me in for the York Sports, 100 metres and 200 metres. And I'd never run a 200 metres in my life before. I said, oh, how do I run it? He said, set off slowly and pick up your speed as you go. So, like a fool, I set off slowly and everybody else just went, you know. That wasn't very good advice. No. So, yeah, I did a bit of volleyball at university. Always liked walking, love the Lake District, sort of working my way through the Wainwrights very, very slowly. And I guess did a bit of mountain biking, sort of early 20s. Bit of sail. Before I was 40, I wanted to sail, so I took up dinghy sailing. I much prefer being on the land. And then I do like to set myself targets, and we have a charity partner at work, and which changes, and I always like to do something for that. So in 2012, I climbed. There was an opportunity to climb Kilimanjaro, which I did. Okay. Yeah, which I loved. And when I came back from that, a friend, I mean, everybody said, what next? And this particular friend said, what next? And she'd just got this new Bianchi, and it was sort of on the wall in the kitchen. I'm like, what a piece of beauty. I said, I don't know, I might take up cycling. And with that, she literally brought a bike around and went, right, get on that then. And that's when my love of cycling started, to be honest. It was, really loved it. Sort of did a few, we did the Col de Tourmalet, 1 year. And then we did Lambs and John O'Groats, actually. Fully supported, but absolutely brilliant. Again, loved it. Came out from that, was brave enough to do Vault 2 on my own. The family came with me, but I cycled it on my own. And then somebody from work asked me if we sponsor the Surrey half marathon. And somebody from work just asked if I would help promote it on social media, which I said, yeah, I'm happy to promote it. I'm not going to do it, but I'll promote it. And I saw there was a 5K option. I said, that sounds all right. I'll see if I can run 5K. So I did. Came off that and went, I might run the London Marathon next year then.
Oh, so, yeah, as you do, just off a 5K.
So I sort of had this thought in the back of my mind, and so I kept sort of doing 5Ks over the summer. And then I got a charity place through work, through British Red Cross, because that's who our partner is. And yeah, I ran the marathon, but I have to say I did not enjoy the training for the marathon at all. No. I'm not a long distance runner. But the day was brilliant. I loved it. Honestly, I mean, I just stopped to hug everybody I saw, and it was a dream. And then after that, I thought, it's a shame to waste these running legs. And I'd read a book by Louise Minchin, Dare to Try.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it. She's on the front in a GB kit, and it's like, how can she run for GB? How does that work? So that's kind of up to multi-sport, really. I was sort of thinking triathlon. I didn't even know duathlon existed. Yeah. And then I met Yiannis Christodoulou, who you had on a couple of weeks ago, on Twitter. I also met Paul Suet on Twitter. So saw those were age grouping. And Yiannis had actually contacted me and said, do you want any coaching or anything? And I was just chatting to him about age grouping. And he said, well, what about duathlon? What's that? And then he said sprint duathlon. I thought, even better. So that's kind of
that's how you got into it.
That's kind of up to there. So
just going back
to that was last summer.
As recent as last summer. So what's the timescale then from actually representing punter to having the first idea of taking or trying to qualify?
So literally last July I was sort of messaging Yiannis going, do you think it's possible? And he went, I think you could qualify. So the idea was, that was 2019. And I was going to try and qualify in 2020 for 2021. And he said, right, you need to register for British Triathlon. You need to go to a qualifying race. I think there's one left, which was Bedford.
Oh, lovely. Always nice and dry at Bedford, isn't it?
Bedford was awful, and you need to do some races. So it was all a bit scary. I'm like, okay. So I registered. I looked at this race. I did actually get a bit of an Achilles problem, but it was nothing. I mean, it was tendinopathy, I think, but I could still do stuff. He wanted me to do a race before Bedford, but it was quite a hilly one, and I just didn't want to risk the ankle. So I registered for Bedford, and of course, once I've registered, I just did tons and tons of research. I thought, what do I need to do to be able to qualify? Mm-hmm. And I knew the running wouldn't be good. I knew the running I'd sort of be, quite far back. But the cycling, I've never done any cycling racing, so I just didn't quite know. But I thought, I'm a pretty good cyclist, so it should be all right. So I turned up at Bedford. What a day! Did you go in October last year, Bedford?
No, I've been once previously, and I think it was a few years ago. But it was, again, it always seems to have a downpour and be flooded and cold, and it was the same when I went. And not being a very big guy on an open circuit like that, racetrack, it just didn't do me any favours. I qualified from it, but it didn't do me any favours, and I vowed never to go back.
Yeah, I guess what I have missed out is my first duathlon. So last July, I did do a duathlon in Chichester. It was sort of a bit of a fun one. It was a 5k run. I think it was a 33k cycle and a 5k run, and on the second run I just completely cramped up. But I finished, and it was actually from that I thought, actually, I quite like this. That was sort of the first proper race I'd ever done, really. So it was from that, and then Yiannis. Anyway, turned up at Bedford. Gave it my best shot. Awful conditions. Honestly, that last run, I felt like stopping, and I was just looking around like, well, nobody else is walking. I can't walk. Crossed the line. I think I came fourth or fifth in my age group. So, but of course, all the good ones are qualified anyway. So, so I didn't get an automatic qualification. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to wait, don't you? But I had 103% on roll down, so
which is
I was
a good percentage.
I was the best on roll down, but having not ever been through the process before, everybody else kept saying you'll be fine, you'll be first on roll down. Honestly, I was checking that website every 15 minutes for a week.
Well, that just shows you how much you wanted it.
And then finally, I remember we were showing my son around Sussex Uni. And I, just popped off. I thought, I'm not looking anymore. Just had a quick look, and it was there, the queue. I couldn't believe it. So that was it. And then I didn't actually do any more duathlons until Punta. So Punta was my third duathlon. Yeah. But between that time, so Yiannis had been doing me a bit of run coaching. Yeah. I thought actually I could really do some cycling coaching, so I started using Mark Shepherd, which actually Yiannis introduced me to Mark, and we have the same coach.
Yeah, I raced with Mark at Punta.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in my age group. Very good.
Yeah,
nice guy.
He's excellent. And we can talk a bit more about coaching later. So we really concentrated on the running for Punta. Yeah. Did everything again. I was supposed to do a duathlon in Southsea, which got cancelled. So, pitched up in Punta, and I kept thinking, I need to get on the plane, I need to get on the start line, I need to get to the finish line. I got on the plane, we did a recce of the bike on the Thursday, I did another recce with the girls, and I was sat there on the Friday, and I was so nervous, didn't know what to do with myself. I thought, I'm just going to go for a little run, and I fell over. I couldn't believe it. I was so annoyed with myself. I mean, I was fine, and everybody said the adrenaline will get you through. Yeah. But I did I really, really bruised my thigh. Anyway, and I thought, I'm not going to get to the start line. I don't believe this. Anyway, I did. And I came 11th. So I was delighted.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So just going back, because I've made a couple of notes of what you were saying. Big cyclist, done a mountain in France. On that, do you watch the Tour de France?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you been enjoying it?
I have enjoyed it. I found it strange this year because Froome isn't there, Thomas isn't there, Ineos doesn't quite feel the same as Sky. So I'm watching it with a whole sort of different angle, if
Yeah.
you like, now. But I have a brand new appreciation for what they're going through.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
now having done some
Yeah.
cycling races.
Yeah.
So no, I love it. We watch the highlights every night at 7, and luckily my husband's he enjoys he's not a cyclist, but he enjoys watching it as well. So I love it when the Tour de France is on.
Yeah. It's just great actually that it's happening. Yeah, so it's just great that it's happening, isn't it? This year at all. So and So you also mentioned about you did some research about the GB thing. So what did that? Because that's really interesting from a new perspective. What did that entail? Just tell everybody what that entailed. Your research.
Well, so I was basically looking at times of people. So I got the list of people that had already qualified in my age group. I looked at what races they'd done. I looked at what times they'd done. I looked at how long the races were. I looked at kilometers per hour, and I knew on the run that, as I say, I'm sort of 5-6 minutes behind on the run as soon as I get off the run, because I'm not a fast runner. But I was working out that if I could sort of cycle it in sort of 38 minutes, then I'd be okay. Hopefully, I might qualify. So just looking at the times of what everybody had done, and actually, is it, first of all, could I get within 120%, and then would I be high enough up that to be able to qualify? So
Good. Yeah, I mean it is quite.
By training, I've got a maths degree, so I'm very, very logical with everything I do.
But it is quite calculating, isn't it? And it depends on lots of different factors. The course for one, whether it suits you or not. Who else is going to be there?
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
all these
and
different.
That's what I was thinking. I kept thinking, okay, who's going to be there? And somebody that's really high up. She was on the list of being there, and actually she didn't turn up on the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. But I was also looking at who was in my age group. I was looking at who could possibly move up an age group, who would be moving into another age group. Honestly, I did so many figures.
I think anybody who wants to do that, who wants to qualify, needs to go through that process. Especially, if your mind works that way as well, So you're not alone in that. That's why I asked the question, because that's exactly what I do before I go. Before I go to any races, I look at what I need to do, and because like you, I'm not the fastest either at the bike or the run or the swim, but if you look at who's gonna be there, who's registered, what races suit you, then it gives you a better chance and a better idea. So very interesting from a newbie point of view. It's it's good to know, and good to tell everybody else the process as well, really.
Because I just didn't know the process at all, really. So it was just interesting to find.
It's another thing. It's another thing. Like, not only have you got to learn to, if you're doing triathlon, swim, bike, and run, you've also got to learn, if you want to qualify, this process as well. So so you mentioned that obviously Yanni was coaching you, and you've got Mark doing a bit of biking. Just go through now then what your coaching, your brief coaching process has been. Let's say for Punta Umbria, what was set out for you? What did the guys do? As well,
Yeah, we sort of transitioned from Yiannis to Mark. At the start, Yiannis was doing sort of my run coaching and feeding into Mark, and then Mark was creating the plan, and then it just transitioned to Mark doing the full coaching. So, first question he asked was, "Can you train 6 days a week?" And ask anybody new to multisport, "Can you train 6 days a week?" Like, 6 days a week, really? You want me to do that? And the coach, I have when it wasn't in lockdown, I travelled quite a lot with my job. It can be quite demanding. The schedule can be a bit hit and miss. So I wasn't quite sure. Anyway, I said, look, we'll give it a try. So I trained 6 days a week, which is 3 cycles, 3 runs. So on a Sunday, I give Mark my work schedule, and then he then sends me an email Sunday evening with the plan for the week, based on how I can fit it in. So it's generally a rest day on a Monday, It's generally cycling on a Tuesday, running Wednesday, Thursday, cycling Friday, running Saturday, cycling Sunday. We chat on at 8:30 on a Friday morning, and he always starts with, "How are you? How did you feel?" And then based on how I'm just feeling physically, mentally, and everything, he then will adjust what he's doing with me. So as I say, for punter, it was largely running, so we were doing quite a lot of interval stuff.
Sure.
Interestingly, the cycling was nearly all zone 2-3, and it's a cycling that I loved.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can't go faster on the bike. He's going, nope, concentrating on the running, which paid off because I did my best run ever in punter. Since punter, I did have a break because actually from the fall I got pleurisy after punter because I damaged my ribs when I fell, which was quite interesting. It took me a while to work out what it was, because of course it was the whole COVID thing as soon as it came back. So it's like, is it COVID? But I didn't quite think it was. Anyway, it was pleurisy. So I had a few weeks off, and actually we've been doing lots of speed work on the bike since then. So I have got a walk bike, which you can see behind me, John Zwift. So the other thing that I'm actually quite scared of racing, which is why I haven't done many races. So he wanted to get me used to racing. So on a Tuesday morning, I was doing the crit races or some other races. And actually now on a Tuesday night, he gets together all the people he coaches, and we actually do an hour on Zwift, like round the volcano circuit or something, and it's a mixture of efforts and very fast 10 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. And it's brilliant. So I've been doing a lot of efforts on the bike, and I've been ticking over with the running. So the running's been nearly all zone 2-3. Bike's been brilliant. I've loved it. I've actually got power pedals on the bike as well, on my outside bikes now as well, which is great. But I've just booked in for a 5K at Goodwood in a few weeks' time, so we're just now switching from the speed work. We'll still do some speed work on the bike, but we're now just ramping up the running, and I did an interval session in the week actually. So but it's a real what Mark is brilliant at is these, he'll listen to how I'm feeling and things like that, and again, I always want to know the science behind everything. So I'm like, well, why am I doing that? What's that going to do for me? So,
no, but it's good to ask the questions, isn't it? You need to know why, and what the outcomes of that training. I always find, I think it's important because you're doing everything for a reason, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he knows what my goals are. We're working towards them. But his philosophy is very, very, patiently and slowly, but actually put maximum effort into the session that you're doing. So it might only be a zone 2-3. So do it in zone 2-3. But if it's like a full effort session, I think the other day he said, if you're not dying, you're not trying.
The old adage. So what's your favourite distance?
On what? Bike
no, just generally on multisport, because that's.
Oh well, so I do sprint duathlon.
Sprint, that's. Yeah. And you're going to stick with that.
I'd prefer super sprint if I could, but.
Right.
Sprint duathlon.
Yeah. And how do you find the drafting?
Well, I haven't done drafting. Oh, sorry, no, I have done drafting. Of course, I've done drafting. I've only done drafting, so I haven't got a TT bike. I've not done non-drafting. So, how do I find drafting? Well, in July in Chichester we couldn't draft actually, but it wasn't TT back, or was it? Maybe you could.
You could if it was non-drafting. If non-drafting you could.
It's a casual thing that it didn't really matter. Obviously, Bedford was drafting, but to be quite honest, because I'm so far back, I can't really find people to draft with. I did find a girl to draft with, but it was so windy, we kept losing each other. So, but in punter, as soon as I got off the run, I pedalled like hell to get to two British girls, and we drafted the whole way together. We took it in turns the whole way, and it was brilliant. Really, really good. So
good.
So it definitely works then.
Good, yeah. I mean, that's what I prefer, what I enjoy doing, being in the thick of that racing, and like you say, because you working together, and it's easier than doing time trials. It just is.
Yeah. Well, again, I've never done a time trial either, but I am better at short, quick bursts. I've got very good. What I want to say wattage, whatever it is, power. I've got very good short burst power, and we're working on my endurance power. Actually, that's what we need to get better as well.
Yeah. Well, it'll come. It just takes time. Like Mark says, you've got to be patient.
I know.
From your experience so far, what advice or hints or tips would you give somebody in your position last July who was looking to go into age group, or anybody who wants to start multisport?
First of all, I'd say just do it.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it is a fabulous new world. I mean, first of all, if you get to represent GB, I mean, how wonderful is that? You get to represent your country. I just find the whole thing amazing. I think probably a lot of people wouldn't even think about that. They just want to go into multisport. So I would say just try it, have a go, because actually you don't realise how much fun it is until you do it, in a way, do you? And it's so friendly as well.
Yeah.
If people are going into multisport, I think what I would say is have a think about what you want out of it. Do you just want to do it for fun? Or actually, do you want to win a medal?
Yeah.
And if you do, then how committed are you willing to be? How much effort are you willing to put in? So I think it is that balance of if you're doing it for fun, and that's absolutely brilliant, do it for fun. But actually, if you want to be serious, you do have to put an awful lot of effort in. So, I would highly recommend it to anybody. Yeah. I'm trying to get some friends into it, but they're not over keen.
Yeah. I think the question that always stands out, people always ask is, what's your why?
Yeah.
Get why are you doing it? Is it to have fun, or is it to be a bit more serious? And both's good. If it gets you moving and gets you active and keeps you fit, or gets you fit, then it's all good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Good. So what's your favourite piece of kit? Now I know what you're going to say. I've seen your Instagram post, so I know what you're going to say.
But which one?
Well, that's tricky, that, isn't it?
My Bianchi Ultra is my favourite piece of kit.
Yeah.
I love my Ultra.
Yeah.
It's just, as soon as I get on it, I love it. So, I have a few Bianchis, but the Ultra is the best.
And please tell me that the Bianchis have got Campag on it.
Oh, they've all got Campag on it.
Oh,
yeah.
Well done.
Oh, actually, sorry, I tell a lie. The new mountain bike has actually got Shimano, dare I say, but all the road bikes have got Campag, yes.
Because that's sacrilege, putting Shimano on an Italian bike's just...
Do you know what? The mountain bike I just bought, and I didn't even know much about the mountain bike. It's just I've just got into mountain biking a bit during the summer for fun, and I had an old Ridgeback. I thought, if I'm going to do this, I need a Bianchi. So I just went on and Googled Bianchi mountain bike. So I wasn't as serious about that, but now all the road bikes. So I've got an Ultra, I've got an Infinito, which actually I bought for Lance and John Groves, which is nice. And then my very first one is a white coast to coast one. We've got a static caravan over in the New Forest, so I'll leave that one over there so that when I go over there,
cool.
I can cycle that one.
So it's your bike then.
It's my bike.
I knew it was. Brilliant. I think so. Finally, it's what's next? What's your goals for the future? And I know it's difficult for everybody to answer at the moment, but what are your short term and your long term goals? Yeah,
so short term goals are obviously to try and qualify for next year.
Yeah.
So I haven't got a PQ for either. So
what races are you looking at for next year?
Well, so ETU sprint duathlon. And ITU sprint duathlon. Yeah. So hopefully European, I'll get in. I think I've got good enough time. So hopefully I'll get in for that. The world, I don't even know if there's going to be any spaces left. Yeah. So I would love to go to Almere, but So the short-term goals are to qualify for them. Long-term goals are to win a medal. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And it was funny, I was listening to the one with Alf yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said, all you have to do is keep going till you're the only one left.
Yeah, that's right. And he's not wrong, is he? He's not wrong. It's the survival of the fittest.
Yeah, but I'm in a way, I'm realistic, but it's good because I'm so new and because I'm so new to running that I can, Mark and I have had this conversation. I can definitely make gains in the running. So you've always got to balance getting older with how better you can get. But because I'm even really new to bike racing, so I'm still improving on both of them. So let's see where we can go. But I love it. I'm hopefully in it for the long term. I plan to be anyway.
Brilliant. But well done on what you've done so far in such a short term. Thank you again for coming on. Been a pleasure, and actually meeting you face to face instead of just the nice and lovely comments that you leave about the podcast on Instagram. Much appreciated. It keeps us going. So thank you ever so much. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
So that was Christina Dove. Just goes to show that you can come to multisport from not even being aware that it exists and represent your country in a relatively short space of time, providing you do your research, you get some quality advice from people who are already in the sport and follow a plan. Great achievement so far, Christina, and as with all AMP athletes, we will be following your journey to see if you can achieve your short-term and your long-term goals. So good luck, and thanks once again for coming on the show. So that's it for another episode of AMP. Thank you for listening, and if you want to get in touch, you can find us on Instagram at AMP_1967 and on Facebook at AMPGB, Twitter at Age Group Multisport Podcast. And if you want to send us an email with questions or just to get in touch, it is agegroupmultisportpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for all your rates and reviews, and subscribe if you can. That's much appreciated. And we'll see you next time. And remember, stay safe, keep training, and enjoy the process.